Hello everyone and welcome to a little intro before the intro. It turns out that Erlang is quite a bit different to any other language I've used before, so I wasn't really able to start building a project, which you'll hear me reference a project several times in the video, but I didn't get to that stage. I was kind of hoping to be able to jump in and just kind of build something. Instead, I ended up basically reading the documentation for like an hour and a half, which was actually quite fun, and it was really interesting, but hopefully it doesn't bore you to sleep. I was thinking about making this into one of those videos, like 10 hours of me reading documentation to fall asleep to, something like that, if you've ever seen them on YouTube. But I think it was pretty good, and hopefully the next video I do will actually be a project. I think I'm going to go off and read the rest of the documentation by myself, and then do another video sometime in the near future, hopefully, where I'm actually just building something, which it should be a lot of fun. So yeah, hopefully enjoy, and I will see you guys, well, in just a second. Hello everyone and welcome back. So today we're doing something a little bit different. As you can see, I've got the Erlang documentation up. I'm going to be sort of trying to learn Erlang, but also just try and build something using it. I don't know how this is going to go. I've never used Erlang before. The reason why I'm using it, you're probably wondering why, when there are alternatives out there, like Gleam, I think it's called. I just think it's cool. You know, some of these languages that kind of pop up that I've never really sort of heard of before. But then you find out that they've done pretty cool things. Like it was used for messaging systems. It was used, I think they use something different now, maybe, but it was used by WhatsApp. In the beginning, I don't know if they've like changed it now, but that's pretty cool. It's a bit different to what I'm used to. You know, I do a lot of PHP. That's kind of my job. Not kind of my job. It is my job. A lot of JavaScript, although less JavaScript nowadays since I stopped using libraries/frameworks for JavaScript. So yeah, I thought it'd be quite interesting to look into it, something a bit different for this channel, and just for me, just kind of broaden my horizons. Now, I don't actually know what I'm going to be building. It's used for like real-time messaging and stuff like that, so that's probably where I'm going to end up. Although maybe there are some things, I've kind of had a little skim of like what's in this documentation, and there are some things, programming examples, which might give me some indication of what's going on. Now, I don't actually know where to start here, because it does say getting started with Erlang, so that probably makes the most sense. But then it does have a lot of other stuff, system principles. I guess probably don't need to read that yet until I've actually written some Erlang. It sounds like it's talking about, is it talking about the system as in the computer it runs on, or is it talking about something to do with Erlang? I don't know. Maybe we'll have a little look at that. Oops, I've already clicked on it, so that's good. Erlang runtime system. Okay, I guess, yeah, it is talking about Erlang. So maybe that would actually be quite useful. Error logging. Then it's got this OTP stuff. I don't really know what OTP is. Design principles define how to structure Erlang code in terms of processes, modules, and directories. Erlang OTP is the supervision tree. Okay, interesting. Yeah, so this is stuff that I've just never really dealt with before. You don't need to, generally, with PHP, but quite cool. What else is there? So I'm trying to think, because I make a mistake when I learn new things. Programming languages specifically, is that I spend a lot of time just reading through the docs as opposed to like building something. And I found, to give you an example, I've tried to learn Rust like maybe 3 times, and all 3 times I've kind of just given up, and not because it was too difficult, but because I was bored. Like, you know, I wanted to build something, and then I was like, because I was working through like the Rust book and stuff like that, and it's like, it's kind of fun, and I'm looking like massive list of like things to go through, and then at the bottom I think it says something like build your own HTTP server or something like that, and I'm like, that sounds interesting, but all this other stuff isn't, even though it's part of learning the language. So I don't really want to make that mistake, but I think we should probably just get started here. Sequential programming. And it says, it's talking about the shell. So I've only actually read up to this bit, and then past this. I have no idea what's going on now. I do have it installed. I'm on Windows, by the way, which I'm not usually. Usually I don't use Windows. I'm on Linux, but I've been using it a lot recently because I've just been playing some video games and stuff. So don't judge me too harshly, but I have got it installed on here, and it's fairly straightforward. You just download Erlang, the executable, and it'll install it all for you. And then you add it to your path, and then you can run Erl, and it puts you into the shell. Right, I think we're good on that. So, right. Type 2 + 5 in the shell and press enter. Alright. Starting off with the basics, which is good. What? Oh, wait, do I need... Oh, okay. That was giving... Notice that tell the shell you are done entering code by... Okay. Can I just put a full stop here? Okay, nice. 7, that's good. Erlang shell numbers the lines that can be entered as 1, 2, and it correctly says that 2 + 5 is 7. Well done, Erlang. If you make writing mistakes in the shell, you can delete with the backspace key, as in most shells, and in commands in the shell. Okay. I don't know how much of this I should really be reading. Like, I sort of get all this stuff. This is just kind of basics of... and this is kind of the problem that I'm talking about with struggling to learn new languages, is that I'll spend time looking at this stuff as if it's any different to any other language. Like, it's not really. The only difference I'm seeing so far is the fact that you put a dot, but I don't know if that's just a shell-only thing. I assume it is. Unless... Oh, actually, is that actual code? That might be actual code, in which case they put a dot there, which is... I've never seen that before. It's like a semicolon or nothing. I've never seen a dot, but programming language is not much use if you can only run it code from the shell. That's fair. There is a small Erlang program. Enter a file named tut.erl using a suitable text editor. I wonder what they mean by that. The file name tut.erl is important. How do you... So this is the thing. How do I run that? Erlang mode for Emacs. But you can manage perfectly well without. Here is the code to enter. Okay. So I'm looking at the code, and I'm wondering, is it one of those languages that uses white space, or is that not a thing? I don't really know. I think I know how to run it. I just make the file and then do the Erl command, I guess. So let's... I think to get out of the shell, it's halt. Is that right? Oh, where did that... The cursor just went really weird then. Okay. So I think what I'll do is I'll cd into code, make a directory called Erlang, and then cd Erlang, and then make another directory, I guess, just called tutorial, something like that, and then I'll have other directories for, like, I'll make a directory for whatever project I end up working on in this video. cd tutorial. Okay, and then what did it say? Did I just open up? Well, I'll just do... I don't know if touch works on Windows, actually. What did it say? tut.erl. Is touch a thing? No. Okay, let's just open up VS Code and then create it like this. tut.erl. It doesn't even understand that Erl's a thing. I thought it would. Have I used the wrong thing, or have I... No, that's right. Okay. Interesting. So, module tut. Okay. That makes sense. So, we can define... And I guess module is like how they kind of package things. So, module... But there is no... Like, it does not understand Erlang at all. Does it actually not exist at all? Wow. Hang on a minute. Let me just see if I can get something. I'm sure there's something that exists. Oh yeah, here we go. Just so I can have, just so it looks a bit nicer. There we go. There we go. That E looks a bit weird, but it does understand it. What? Why does it want... Does it need... Oh. What the... Okay, I don't know what just happened then. I don't know what it was asking. I guess I'd... Fine, you can have access to the network, I suppose. Okay, what was I doing? Oh yeah, export double /1. I don't know what the /1 is, but I think I get what the export is. That's quite interesting, because I guess what happens is if you want to use this in another file, you would import the module and then you would get access to whatever's exported, maybe. So export double /1. Now I don't know what the /1 is, but we'll go with it for now, and I'm sure. And I think it was like a sort of an array syntax, wasn't it? Yeah, double /1, and then a dot. End of line, and I'm guessing this is going to say undefined. God, I really want to know what that /1 is. That's really weird. Right, so double takes in. And that's another thing, actually, is I'm guessing it's not a typed language, just based on this, although I don't actually know. Double X, that looks like a capital X. Does that matter? That might matter. I don't know if that matters or not. We'll just go with lowercase for now, and then maybe it'll tell me that something's wrong. And then a dot. There we go. Look at that. That's my first Erlang function. That's pretty cool. So it's not hard to guess that this program doubles the values of numbers. The code I described later. Okay, that's good. Let us compile the program. This can be done in the Erlang the Erlang shell as follows, where C means compile. Oh, okay. So, okay, that's slightly confusing. So I have to open up the shell, then do C, and then the module. Oh, and then a dot. Yeah, I keep forgetting about the dot. Valuation operator X will fail with bad arith. Valuation of operator, is that the right thing? Yeah, that's the right thing. Will fail with a bad arith exception. Does it need to be a capital X? Is that actually a thing? Oh, it actually changed colour then. Oh, okay. I think it actually does need to be a capital for some reason. I guess that's... Can I like I really need to get used to putting a dot. Okay, there we go. It does need to be a capital. That's interesting. So does... I guess we'll see more... yeah, N... That's... Yeah, okay. I guess they need to be capitals. Do they only need to be capitals if... Huh. Convert to... Oh, see, this is... Okay, I need to stop moving ahead, because now that says /2, and there's two functions that are both called convert. This is getting out of hand very quickly. So, yeah, so the OK tut means that the compilation is okay. If it says error, it means that there's some mistake. Error message gives an idea what is wrong, so that's fine. I got an error, and I fixed the error, so that's pretty impressive. So tut, so we do tut, so the module, and then the function that's exported from that module, 10, with a dot. 20! Alright. Double 10 is 20, yeah. Now let us go back to the first two lines of code. See, this is where I was a little bit confused, so this will be nice to clarify things. Erlang modules are written in files. Each file contains an Erlang module. Yeah. And the first line of code is in the module is the module name. I may be slightly dyslexic. I actually don't know if I am or not, but I do struggle to read sometimes, so you'll have to bear with me. The module is called tut. Notice the full stop at the end of the line. The files which are used to store the module must have the same name as the module, but with the extension .erl. Okay, that's fine. But in this case, the file name is tut.erl. When using a function in another module, the syntax module name, function name, arguments is used. So the following means call function double in module tut, which I kind of already figured that out. Not that it's that tricky to figure out, but that's all good. It's good that it's easy to figure out because it means it's like intuitive. The second line says that module tut contains a function called double, which takes one argument x in our example. So it contains one function called double. Okay, that's interesting. So you can have multiple functions of the same name. Okay. The second line says, I think I just read that. The second line also says that this function can be called from outside the module. Does it say that? The second line? Oh, is that what export is? Is that what that's saying? Okay. Yeah, a complicated example. Okay, so now, okay. Now for a more complicated example, the factorial of a number. For example, the factorial of 4 is 4, 3, 2, 1, which equals 24. Enter the following code in tut1.erl. Okay, tut1.erl, let's go. Tut.beam. Oh, okay. I guess that's what it compiles down to. New file tut1.erl. Okay. And then okay. I can do some of it without looking. I think that's good. Module tut1. Oh, tut1. With a dot. There we go. And then export. Is it exports? Oh, don't remember. Yep. Wait, no. No, it's export. And then it's FAC. And then it's /1. Okay. Right, and then let's have a look at this. So, for 1, n minus 1. I'll just write this out. I should probably do it so that these are side by side. And I can do that as well, which is quite good. And I should probably also zoom in on this. Can I do that? Is it page? Oh no, that doesn't work. View. God, I somehow don't know how to use VS Code after all this time. Edit and layout, appearance. Yeah. Hopefully that's fine for the video. I don't know if that's too small still, but we'll go with it. So what was I on? Oh yeah, here we go. So FAC. Oh, FAC 1. No, that's just 1. And then bizarrely, there's a semicolon. Is that right? FAC N with a capital N. Capital N times FAC N. God, I cannot type. 1 with a dot. Okay. So now there's a semicolon has entered the array, which is strange. I don't know. Okay, well, I guess it'll explain it in a second. So this module is called tut1 and contains a function called AC, which takes argument n. God, I cannot read to save my life. 1 is 1. Notice that this part ends with a semicolon. This indicates that there is more of the function FAC to come. The second part says that factorial of n is n multiplied by the factorial of n minus 1. Notice that this part ends with a dot, saying that there is no more parts to this function. That's a... So are these considered the same function then? It's like a continuation of this one. That's a bit... That's gonna take some time to wrap my head around. Okay, we're already in the shell, so I'll just do C compile tut1, and then it does that. It keeps moving my cursor back. I don't really know why, but there we go. So that's compiled, and then you do tut1 back, and then 4 with a dot 24. Nice. Here the function FAC module tut1 is called with argument 4. Function can have many arguments. Let us expand the module tut1 with function to multiply two numbers. Okay, nice. MULT x, y, x times y with a dot. Function mult/2. Oh. So is the number there to do with the arguments then? Is that what that is? It seems, I guess maybe it isn't strange to specify it, because if it isn't typed, then it's just the number of arguments, and you don't. Okay, I don't know if what I just said made any sense, but I was just thinking in my head, like, why would you need to specify that? But then I guess if you use it in like another bit of code, and you only pass in, let's say in this case, you only pass in one argument, you're basically, it can tell you that you're meant to pass in two. I guess that's how that works. I don't know, but that's how that makes sense to me. But maybe not. And all it would need to know is the two. And this is kind of what I'm getting at with the types, is that all it would need to know is two, and not like, if you passed in as the second parameter a string when you're meant to pass in a number, it wouldn't know that, so it wouldn't care. All it would care is that two arguments have been passed in, but I guess that's what that means. I was thinking it meant something else, but I think that's wrong. But yeah, I need to export this. So we'll just do mult/2. I guess I could try that and just do this and just do x, y, z. So does that become 3? Okay, interesting. Yeah, so that is actually the number of arguments it's expecting. Okay, cool. I guess I know that now. We'll just rerun this, and then we should be able to do tut1 mult, and then what, 3, 4 with a dot. 12. Nice. Numbers are integers, and the arguments in the function, the code n, x, and y are called variables. Variables must start with a capital letter. Okay. Examples of variables. Okay, so it just needs to start with a capital letter. For some reason, when I was thinking about, because obviously we've only used one letter so far, so I was thinking, does the entire thing need to be a capital? I was thinking, if you wanted to pass in year, for example, you'd have to do this. But yeah, I guess that makes sense. Yeet, year. There we go. Okay, I was really thinking, why would they do that? But I guess that makes sense. Okay, so atoms. Oh my god, atom is another data type in Erlang. Atoms start with a small letter. Okay. For example, Charles, centimeter, and inch. Atoms are simply names, nothing else. They are not like variables which can have a value. Oh, okay. Oh, I see. That's okay. So, yeah, in order to, that's yeah. So in order to use this function, you would just pass in inch. It's like static. So those are technically two different functions, and the thing that separates them is this is this atom here. Okay, interesting. Enter the next. This feels so much different to what I've done before. I don't think I've ever encountered anything like this. Really, I mean, it's good. It's good because it makes it more interesting. It's not just like learning another language. You're learning another language that has different things in it. I don't think I've ever used anything like this. I guess the closest thing is kind of like an enum, maybe. Something like that. But yeah, the next program, enter the next program in a file called tut2. Okay, oh, another file. tut2.erl. And then module. To the dot export. I quite like this so far. Writing it feels quite nice. Although I haven't really done a huge amount, obviously, but it does. It feels pretty good. Although it might just be the fact that it's a new language, which is quite exciting. But convert inch, so that's an atom here. And that doesn't highlight or anything, so I'm assuming that's fine. Just, yeah, I don't know. I'm assuming it's fine. I mean, it shows it in the documentation. I was expecting it to highlight like a different color to show that like it's fine, but that's fine. And then convert n centimeter times 2.54. Oh yeah, one's okay. That makes sense. I was thinking I've just typed the same thing twice there, but yeah, one's divide the other's time. That's fine. Okay, what's this error? Function convert to already defined. I done something wrong? Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, I see. Okay. Yeah, I did do something wrong. It's okay, that's interesting. I sort of read ahead just a little bit there, and down here it says this convert. So they've done it with miles, but obviously miles isn't defined, and then it's thrown an exception, no function clause matching, and then this. So I'm guessing. So these are like kind of, how would you say it? Almost like some kind of if-else type thing. So it's like if inch, if this second parameter is inch, or if the second argument is inch, use this one, or use this one. But they're kind of all defined together, because this semicolon indicates that the function isn't done yet. So I guess if I wanted to define miles, then I would have to add a semicolon here and then do basically this again, but with miles. And then the miles would have the dot. Like it's, yeah. So that makes sense. Really weird, but yeah, pretty cool, I guess. Let's do compile it again. C tut2. Compiled that, nice. And then tut2 convert, and then we'll do 3 inch. I'm not going to say anything. 1.18, yeah, that's the same. I mean, I don't know why I would expect it to be different. I literally just copied the code, but 7, and then centimeter. Centimeter. God, I really must be dyslexic. 17.78, nice. Notice the introduction of decimals, floating point numbers, without any explanation. Hopefully you can go with that. I've never seen documentation written like that before. Hopefully you can cope with that. Yeah, that should be fine. Let's see what happens if something other than centimeter, inch, or... I won't bother writing this, but that makes sense. The two parts of the convert function are called clauses. As shown, miles is not part of either of the clauses. The Erlang system cannot match. Yeah, that's the word I was thinking of, like a match. Yeah, I think like Rust has something where they do it is match, and then depending on, I think it's like the output of something, it'll then run something else. You can tell it's been a while since I've done any Rust, but yeah, I do recognize that kind of way of doing things, although it's obviously written differently here. I quite like this way of doing it, though. It seems pretty... I can see it kind of... Because convert would all have to be together, I guess. So maybe that kind of keeps the code looking okay. Like, I can imagine it getting a bit confusing having multiple convert functions. But if you have to write it like this, you kind of have to keep them together, which I guess solves that problem, maybe. But yeah. Pretty cool either way. Miles is not part of either clauses. Cannot match either of the clauses. So an error message, function clause is returned. The shell formats the error message nicely, but the error tuple is saved in the shell's history list and can be output by the shell command v/1. See, that's interesting that this slash number thing is like used just kind of everywhere then. Like I thought it was just going to be used here, but they've just used it v/1, indicating that v has one parameter. That's that. Yeah, I don't know why that's like surprised me, but I just assumed that they just show v instead of putting the /1, because I suppose in a sense, how many like arguments a function takes in isn't really, well, it is useful, but it's kind of like it doesn't really give you that much information, because it's like v/1. It's like, okay, I know it needs one argument, but like what argument? What does it need? Does it need a string? Like what? There's not really much more information about the argument, which I guess is what's kind of confusing me a little bit. Is it's like I don't get why this is that. Well, it's useful in a sense of like oh, this is expecting 2 arguments and I passed in 1, and I guess it throws an error. That's fine, I get that, but then it's like it doesn't give you any more information than that, which is a bit. But I suppose that's how they do things, and it's. I'm coming from a language where, I mean, PHP technically has types, but not really that enforced. Like they're completely optional. So I guess it's just the same thing as that, really. But yeah. Anyway, I was just quite surprised to see v/1 there. But when I saw it, I recognised that it meant that you need 1 argument. So I guess it's good. It works. So v12. So what is that number then? I don't know what that number references. Is it referencing the line? I guess it references the error from whichever. So if I did like v5, I'd get something. Let me just try again. So I'm going to throw an error and then run the command. But what I'm assuming is that you run v and then whichever line you want to know about. So convert 3 and then miles. Oh, close that. So yeah, an exception, and then you do v, and then I'd do 11 in this case with a dot. And then it gives me function clause, and then just kind of where things are happening. That's pretty cool. But then, so if I do v, and then if I did like, where have I ran some code? 10. Does it give me like oh no, it just kind of gives me the output of it. Okay, so in this case the error is the output, right? Yeah. So v gives you the output of whatever line. Okay, that's interesting. Very useful. So now the tut2 program is hardly good programming style. Consider, does this mean that 3 is in inches? Or does it mean that 3... Okay. So I'm just reading ahead a little bit, and it seems like things are getting a little bit mental there. Centimeter x, is that... Okay, well, I'll read this, and then it should hopefully tell me. So, inches, or does it mean that 3 is in centimeters and is to be converted to inches? Erlang has a way to group things together to make things more understandable. These are called tuples, and are surrounded by curly brackets. Okay. I actually didn't even notice that we'd got onto the tuple section, to be honest with you. So inch 3 denotes 3 inches, and centimeter 5 denotes 5 centimeters. Now let us write a new program that converts centimeters to inches, and conversely, enter the following code. So let's do tut3.erlang. I am literally just running through the entire thing, but I think we'll get to a point where I can probably be like, let's maybe do something else, writing output to the terminal. A larger example. Okay. I mean, this really is the kind of, the thing you should read through and then work on something, I guess. But yeah, I really want to get on to doing something, because I don't want to make that mistake I normally make where I just mess around reading tutorials for ages and then never actually end up building anything. I kind of like, I guess whilst I'm writing this out, I can explain my sort of methodology to learning. I'm very practical with how I learn things. And I tend to not really understand things unless I'm actually like doing something. I'm not very good with like, I don't know if you'd call it theory. I mean, the stuff is here, but like actually getting it into my head so it stays. That's not. These tutorials, these documentation things, they're really good, obviously, because it shows you like what you need to do. But I only find things sticking when I'm actually doing something. So I think it's better for me to kind of start a project as soon as possible, and use that as a way to learn and kind of reference documentation at the same time. Which I guess is probably a way that most people do it, but I just tend not to. I guess maybe out of almost some weird anxiety that I'm not going to be able to do it, and it's like, oh, I might not be able to, build this project, and that's, I guess, a worrying thing. I don't know why, but you need to push past that, or at least I need to push past it. Maybe most other people don't have issues with it, but I tend to have issues with like making the perfect thing. I kind of have a bit of I don't think I am a perfectionist. I just seem to have a little bit of when I build something, it needs to be perfect. And I guess in some ways it's almost like there's no point of doing it if it's not perfect, but there is, because you learn, and then as you learn, you can make it better and better. I mean, there is no perfect, but you can make it better and better as you're learning. So that's kind of what I need to do when I'm learning, and I tend not to do that for some reason, even though I know that I should do it. So this is kind of me, I guess, pushing myself to do that in a way. So yeah, we've got these tuples here, by the way, and I'm a bit concerned that these aren't highlighting, but that's fine. It just makes me feel like I'm doing something wrong. But 2.54, was it? That was right, yeah, divide, and then we do the semicolon to indicate that the function is not done yet. Length. And then we do inch y. This is so interesting though. Like, I've been wanting to learn like different things recently. I've been kind of trying to push myself to learn things that I don't really, that I've kind of, well, I've sort of not neglected learning, although some things I have neglected learning, but I've been trying to push myself to do more and more difficult things, because obviously I've been doing PHP for about, 8.5 years now. It'll be 9 years, not too long, which is almost a decade of doing PHP, and I've also done JavaScript at the same time. And when I've been doing that, I've also been dabbling in other things. So like I'll do like a little bit of C. I think at the beginning of my career I did like C++, because I thought that was like the language that proper programmers use. Obviously not realizing that there's tons of languages out there, but that was kind of a thing that I did for a bit, but I kind of had the same problem that I'm talking about, where I kept doing tutorials, which I didn't really learn anything, because I didn't understand what I was doing, because obviously C, compared to PHP, has C++, although the same thing applies. PHP is obviously doesn't really make use of types unless you want to. And, in PHP that I write nowadays, I tend to make use of types to some extent. But obviously going from PHP to C++, there's a lot of different things, pointers and templates and stuff like that. And it's like, what is any of this stuff? And when you're reading a tutorial, it's a bit difficult to kind of wrap your head around how do you use them, when do I use pointers and stuff like that. And that's actually an issue I've had recently, because I've used Go a little bit as well. And Go obviously has, it's a simple language, but it still makes use of these things that I'm just not that familiar with. And I understand pointers and stuff like that. I get what they do. The biggest issue I have is like, when do I use them? Like, when's appropriate? And it seems to be one of those things where you just kind of pick up, and that's fine if it's something that you learn just by picking it up, and you kind of, as you get more experience with the language, you sort of like develop that intuition of like, okay, this should be a pointer, or this shouldn't be. This function needs to pass in the value, and this function needs to pass in the reference. So that stuff I just don't get. So but I don't get it because I need to push myself to actually building something with it, which I haven't really done yet. So, like I said, this is kind of me doing that. Although it's not really, we're not talking about C or Go or anything like that. It's just something different. But it is a different kind of language. Like, it's written differently, and it'll have different concepts in it than PHP. So that's good. And if I can build something with it, then at least I've done that, and I kind of have this new experience. Broadens the horizons, I suppose. Yeah, they say travel broadens the mind. I think it is, and using new programming languages kind of does the same thing, obviously in a bit of a different area, but it's good to learn new things, I suppose, is what I'm getting at. Keep the brain sharp, which is something that I've neglected, so hopefully I can do more of these in the future if people enjoy them. So, sort of weird ramble over with. Let's compile this. I think that's done. Yeah, we're done. Compile, so C, and then is it tut3? Tut3 with a dot. And then we can do tut3 convert length. And then we pass in inch 5. So we're saying that this is 5 inches. Centimeter 12.7. Yeah. Okay. What is going on here? So tut3 convert length. Okay. Interesting. So tut3 convert length. Length, for some reason, I have big problems spelling length. Like, I do it all the time. JavaScript uses length when you do. In fact, well, I think a lot of things probably do. But when you've got an array and you do dot length, that's how you get how many items are in the array. Every single time I misspell it, I always put the H in front of the T, and I don't really know. I don't really know how. Wait, in front of the. I do it like this. Is that in front? Oh, behind. Yeah, behind. Technically, I think. I do it like that, and I don't know how. Oh, I need to add it back. So, and then inside of this, we can call tut3 convert length again. Tut3, that was meant to be there. Convert length. Oh, see, I have to really think about it when I spell it. Where am I? There we go. It keeps like moving my cursor just randomly. I don't know why it does that. Inch 5. Is that right? With a dot. Inch 5. There we go. So I think what's happening is here. That was good English. I think what's happening here is it's returning centimeter and whatever the centimeter value would be, and then converting centimeter value, and then you get inch 5 back. So it's converting and then converting back. That makes sense. It looks kind of confusing at first when it's written like this, but yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Notice on line 16 that 5 inches is converted to centimeters and back again, yeah, and reassuringly get back the original value. That is, the argument to a function can be the result of another function. Consider how line 16 above works. The argument given to the function inch 5 is the first matched against the first head clause of convert length. That is convert length centimeter x. It can be seen that centimeter x does not match inch 5. The head is the bit before the arrow. This having failed, let us try the head of the next clause, that is convert length inch y. This matches, and y gets the value 5. Tuples can have more than 2 parts, in fact as many parts as you want, and can contain any valid Erlang term. For example, to represent the temperature of various cities. Okay, that's interesting. Tuples can have more than 2 parts. I don't know why I always imagine tuples just having 2 parts, but I guess maybe there's some languages that do that. But I think it's the part that throws me off is the 2. So I just imagine it's 2. But maybe I'm wrong on that one. I don't know. Lists. Okay. So whereas tuples group things together, It is also needed to represent lists of things. Lists in Erlang are surrounded by... Did I read that wrong? It's also needed to... Okay, oh yeah, I see what they say. Okay, lists in Erlang are surrounded by square brackets. For example, a list of temperatures of various cities in the world can be... Yeah, so just kind of a standard array, so that's cool. Notice that this list was so long that it did not fit on one line. This does not matter. Erlang allows line breaks at all sensible places, but not, for example, in the middle of atoms, integers, and others. Okay, that's fine. A useful way of looking at parts of a list is by using... this is best explained by example using the shell. What? I can't even figure out what's happening here. So first, and then the rest. Oh, I think I get... Oh, okay. I think I get what's happening there. So... I mean, it gives a better example here. So this gets the first element, this gets the second element, and this will get the rest of the elements. Okay, that makes sense. To separate the first elements of the list from the rest of the list, used... what is that called? Does it have a name? Just called vertical bar, I suppose. That's a pretty good name. Vertical bar. I feel like it's probably got a better name than that. But yeah, vertical bar will do. First has got the value 1, and the rest has got the value 2, 3, 4, 5. Another example, E1, E2, R, and then E1 gets the first element, E2 gets the second element, and R gets the rest of them. Here you see the use of vertical bar to get the first two elements from the list. If you try to get more elements from the list than there are elements in the list, an error is returned. Notice also the special case of the list with no elements. Okay. So we would get an error if we did A, B, and then try to get another element here, I guess. But we can do C, and it just gives us an empty. If that makes sense. In the previous example, new variable names are used instead of reusing the old ones. Yeah, and the reason this is that the variable can only be given value once in its context. More about this later. The following example shows how to find the length of a list. Enter the following code in a file named tut4. Oh, should I close these? Get a bit overwhelmed there. Right. Tut4. I'm wondering, these .beam files that are being generated, and I think... I don't know what you call it, but do you call it the beam runtime? I think that's what it's called, but that's what runs Erlang, and I think also it runs Gleam as well. I think they use the same thing. So tut4, but I'm wondering if these files, if there's a better way to store them. Like, is there something you can do where you say, like, put them in like a bin directory or something like that? I'm wondering. It just seems like every time you've got an Erl file, having .beam, a .beam file under it seems a bit like it could get quite messy quite quickly, but for now it doesn't really matter. But here we go. Module. I can spell tut4. Tit. Nice. Okay. And for some reason this one's got a space between export. I don't know if that's on purpose, but I'm just going to assume it's an accident. Or it doesn't really matter. But we'll just go with list length, spell that right, with 1 parameter, and then we'll do list underscore length again. Did it spell it wrong somehow? And then we'll do arrow 0 semicolon to indicate that the function is not done yet. List length. Oh yeah, no, that was right. I was typing it wrong then. And then we'll do first, and it's a variable, so it needs a capital first letter, and then, okay, trying to do the vertical bar here. Rest. I'm holding my keyboard in a bit of a, not holding it, but it's in a bit of a different position. I think that's why. If I move it, the keyboard's quite big, so if I move it too far to the right, which is much more comfortable for typing, I then have no room for my mouse, which is why I'm mistyping constantly. Okay. It's fine though. I mean, I don't really need my mouse too much anyway. Rest. And then 1 plus list. Rest. Dot. Okay. So that's interesting. A lot of recursion. We've had 2 examples now with recursion already. So what this will do is it'll run every time. It'll get rid of the first element and then return rest and then add 1 each time. So it's effectively just going through removing 1 element each time and then adding 1, I guess. 1 plus and yeah, so it's getting 1. It'll return 1, I guess. So by the end of it, it'll just get loads of 1s added together, and then that'll be the length, which makes sense. What's wrong with this? Variable first is unused. Oh, I guess that doesn't matter. I wonder if they have a thing for handling that, or if they don't care, because I know a lot of languages use like an underscore, so they do underscore first. I don't know if that's a thing here, but I don't think it really matters that much. Okay, compile and test. So do C, and then we'll do tut4. Quite like this, you know, this way of compiling and stuff. The amount of I did some C recently, just messing around, and took me ages to figure out how to get things working. So this is quite nice. Oh yeah, I forgot the dot. This is quite nice. You can just do this. So first is unused. I don't think it matters, but I'm sure there's a thing you can do to say like it doesn't matter that this variable's unused, but I don't know. Maybe Erlang just does not care. The length of an empty list is obviously 0. The length of a list with the first element is 1 plus the length of the rest. Advanced readers only. Wow. This is not tail recursive. This is a better way to write this function. In general, tuples... Wait, is this related to that, or is that... Okay. I guess advanced readers only can understand what's going on here. This is not tail recursive. This is a better way to write this function. Oh no, there is a better way to write this function, sorry. Yeah, I was thinking there would be. Although I'll be honest with you, I don't really understand what this means. Let's Google it. Tail recursive, subroutine call performed as a final action of a procedure. If the target of a tail is the same as subroutines, then to be tail recursive, which is a special case of direct recursion. Okay, is that just normal recursion? Or is that a different... I don't know. This is the kind of stuff I'm looking into. I've kind of neglected all this stuff for a while. I've been very pragmatic, I guess you would say, in my learning. So I tend to skip past stuff and just kind of learn what I need to learn and leave it there. Which, you know, gets the job done, but it's kind of... It leaves me lacking knowledge in certain areas that I... You know, now I'm in a position where I'm like, actually, I could really do with that knowledge. So, yeah, I'm sort of trying to change how I'm looking. Hence, you know, why I'm doing this, really. Just kind of exposing myself to new languages and stuff. Different concepts. So, in general, tuples are used where records or structs are used in other languages. That makes sense. Also, lists are used when representing things with varying sizes. That is where linked lists are used in other languages. Yeah. Erlang does not have a string data type. Instead, strings can be represented by lists of Unicode characters. This implies, for example, that the list 979899 is equivalent to ABC. The Erlang shell is clever and guesses what list you mean and output... What? Okay, that's interesting then. So you represent them as numbers? Unicode numbers, I guess? A list of Unicode characters. Let me have a look at this. Unicode characters. So if you want to do anything, you have to put... Is that what it's saying? You have to put this in? So what did it say? 90? Is it... Oh, no, these are not. Hang on a minute. Oh, yeah, here we go. So 97... Yeah. 122. So you have to use... That's weird. Erlang does not have a string data type. Instead, strings can be represented by lists of Unicode characters. Huh. That's yeah, that's really weird. I don't actually know what kind of how that would change things. Like if I was writing code that I've written in other languages that uses strings, does that mean I have to do this now? But does that mean I have to then convert? I'm just thinking, like, if a message came in, which is obviously a string, would I then have to, in order to, like, do something with that, would I then have to convert it to the Unicode characters then? That's, interesting. Maybe there's a good reason for that. Maybe that's a better way of doing it. It just sounds a bit strange, but I don't know. It'll be interesting to see, like, how you utilize that in a, you know, an actual example and see how it all works. But yeah, for now, I'll leave that and then come back to it later when I get really confused by strings. Anyway, maps are a set of key to value associations. These associations are encapsulated within hash and then curly braces to create an association from key to a value 42. That makes sense. Let us jump straight into the deep end, an example using some interesting features. The following example shows how to calculate alpha blending using maps to reference color and alpha channels. Enter the code in a file named color.erl. Okay. Wow. They really have thrown you into the deep end. I mean, there's a lot to write here. I'm a bit I don't really know whether to write it all. I'm also a little bit confused here because okay. Oh, okay. I'm seeing this here. Unused. That's for unused variables. Now, okay. I was confused for a second. I'm no longer confused, which is a rarity. But I was confused because it says blend, but it's not doing the semicolon thing. So this one is. So these two, you've got blend and then it ends in a semicolon, and blend the other one that ends in a dot. So that's what I'm used to. But then you've got blend here, which ends in a dot and only takes in 2 parameters. And the thing that I was confused about is like, well, how do you know which one? Like, how is there not a collision here? Like, how is there not something going wrong? But up here it says blend/2. So you're looking for blend with 2 parameters, and that's what gets exported. So when you run blend, you run this one. And I guess then this one runs whichever one of these is appropriate. And then you've got underscores here for unused variables. So yeah, that's interesting. Makes sense. Do I write this example out or do I not bother? I'm just wondering. It's quite an interesting example. I might just give it. I might just write it out just for, I don't know, the sake of completeness, I suppose. But it is quite an interesting example. So dash module. Spelt wrong. Not by me though. By the Americans, I think. Export new/4 blend/2. Okay, and then define is channel. We haven't seen that define yet, but where's it used? RGBA. Interesting. I'm sure it'll elaborate on that a bit later, but we'll do define. We'll just kind of go with it for now. Is channel. And then v. And then is float v. I think I did a lowercase v, which is not right. And then is it in there and also? Wow. Oh, hang on a minute. That really can't even spell. That threw me off so much. I really wasn't expecting to see and also there. And also v is more than or equal to 0.0. And also, really weird to see in a language. Then again, PHP, sorry to bring up PHP again for anybody that doesn't know PHP. But PHP does have a thing, and I guess other languages probably have this maybe. But instead of doing and the traditional way, like that, or using the vertical bars as we now know they're called, you can do this. Which I always found a bit weird, and I think one takes precedence. I think that type of and takes precedence over this one, I think. Might be wrong in saying that, but I think that's a thing. And I'm typing it, and it is actually... Is and a thing in Erlang then? Oh, I mean, it's literally here, isn't it? And also, although that's not highlighting, so I don't know. It seems a bit weird that that's not highlighting, but anyway, we'll move on. So we've got new, which is... Try to figure out what that is, because it's a bit of a weird... I don't know what you'd call it, but so we got when is channel R, is channel G. Okay. They really are throwing you at the deep end because I don't really know what that is. RGBA. When. So I guess it'll check all of these. So is channel R. So I guess this is just checking that it's a valid number. So it should be between 0.0 and 1. And then if I guess this is like validation. So as long as all of these pass, then it can create this thing, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I don't fully understand what's going on, but fine. So is channel G, and then do we go on a new line here? I don't know whether to just keep going. I cannot type. Save my life. Is channel B. And then is channel A. Nice. And if it is, then we return a map. Oh, which has, oh God. Sorry to everyone that's watching. This is a nightmare. R G. Oh, it's green. Oh God. E and blue. B. It's like PHP array syntax, which is quite nice. I'm sorry to bring up PHP again. Blend src dst, then blend. We'll do src. Yeah, I noticed I don't use spaces between these, but I don't know if that's like Erlang's way, not Erlang's way of doing it, but Erlang developers, that's how they've kind of decided to style things. I don't know if what I'm doing here is actually, you know, leaving spaces here is like a frowned upon thing, but maybe. Alpha. and then source dst with a dot. Nice. And that'll be throwing an error because it doesn't understand what this is. That's fine. Blend src dst alpha. And then that's when alpha. It's quite interesting then. So these like these things here, these when things are like guards, I guess. So I'm calling them guards. I don't know if they actually are in Erlang, but it's like what would you call it? Sort of validation before it runs something. So it's like if this fails validation, it won't run this function. Interesting. I guess it just throws an error if it doesn't. 0 dst this be, there we go, and then I'll do this. Okay, red. So this is interesting again. It's coming up with some new syntax all of a sudden, which is kind of like Go's syntax. Well, I guess Go's is like Erlang's because Erlang came first. I don't know if this is where they got it from, but interesting. dst, and then divided by the alpha. Oh god, I'm actually just going to copy some of this. I'm going to be honest, it's getting a little bit boring now. As interesting as yeah, all the new stuff is, I think just writing all this again, I might just do this. I'll need a semicolon. There we go. Very nice. Bit cheating, but I think I can get away with it if I'm doing just a little tutorial. And there's also some explanation there, which I think would be more useful than just writing out the code. In this case, like a lot of this stuff I've written out already. So we'll go with it. So we'll do C, and then we'll compile color. The dot. And then we can try it out. So, okay. Color new. Okay, so you create a color. Assign it to C1, then create another color, and say, okay, so that's yeah, they're using that as like some kind of a constructor type thing. So color C1 is equal to color new 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 1.0. So C1 defined, C2, color new, 1.0. I actually don't know what this function's meant to do, I'm going to be honest with you. It was talking about colors, but I kind of lost track of what it was meant to do. 0.3, I think that's fine. Yeah, and then color blend C1, C2. Okay. I don't actually know what it's doing. Okay. Well, let's move on to the explanation. Define is channel float, and also yeah. So it first checks if it's a float, then it checks if it's more than or equal to 0, and then it checks if it's less than or equal to 1. That's fine. First, a macro is channel is defined to help with the guard test. So they are guards then. Okay. This is only here for convenience and to reduce syntax cluttering. For more information about macros, see the preprocessor. I've just noticed how far down this page I am. not very far at all. The function. Oh wait a minute. Hang on a minute. So I already know what's kind of happening there. That's fine. The function new/for creates a new map term and lets the keys red, green, blue, and alpha be associated with an initial value. In this case, only float values between and including 0.0 and 1.0 are allowed, as ensured by the isChannel macro for each argument. Only the arrow operator is allowed when creating a new map. New map by calling blend into any color term created by new_for. The resulting color can be calculated as determined by two map terms. The first thing blend2 does is calculate the resulting alpha channel. Okay, I don't really know much about colors, so this is just a bit confusing to me. The value associated with key alpha is fetched for both arguments using the whatever you would call that operator. The other keys in the map are ignored. Only the key alpha is required and checked for. This is also the case for functions red 2, blue 2, and green 2. Red. Yeah, the difference is that a check is made for two keys in each map argument. The other keys are ignored. Finally, let us return the resulting color in blend 3. Okay. The DST map is updated with the new channel values. Okay, that makes sense. And the syntax for updating an existing key with a new value is with the... I don't know what you call that. I think it's got a name, but I completely forget what it is. But whatever that is, operator. Okay. So that makes sense. I get it to some extent. But yeah, that's fine. Standard modules, like all that was just to learn about maps, was it? Okay. Yeah, you can redefine keys by using this. Okay, but when you initially do it, you use this. Okay. That makes sense. Standard modules and manual page. I don't know how much further down I'm going to go here. Although I think there's something here that's quite interesting. So let me just read this bit then. So Erlang has many standard modules to help you do things, which is good. For example, the module IO contains many functions that help in doing formatted input/output. To look up information about standard modules, the command H can be used, the Erlang shell. Oh, okay, I see. So I can do H, and then whatever the module name is. Do I want more? So standard IO server interface functions. If I do more, yeah, giving me more. It sort of didn't really give me. Do I want more? And then it gave me like there has to be more to it than this, surely. Maybe not. Okay. You can also read documentation in HTML or download it as EPUB from Erlang doc. Writing output to a terminal. Oops. It is nice to be able to do formatted output in examples. So the next example shows a simple way to use IOFormat2 function. Like all other exploit functions, you can test the IOFormat2 function in the shell. Okay. IO format. Hello world. And then it does a squiggly N. So is that their version of doing a line break then? Not a sort of backslash N? I guess so. Nope, that's not right. There we go. How? I don't know what I did there. I don't know how that happened. Okay. No, never mind. Just something happened then. I don't really know what happened. But so you can do squiggly line N is a line break. I could call it a tilde. Tilde W. Tilde W is used for replacing the word, so that makes replacing that with that, so that makes sense. The function IO format 2, that is format with 2 arguments, takes 2 lists. The first one is nearly always a list written between. Okay, the list is printed out as it is, except that each tilde W is replaced by a term taken in order from the second list. Each tilde N is replaced by a new line. The IO format function itself returns the atom OK if everything goes as planned. Like other functions in Erlang, it crashes if an error occurs. This is not a fault in Erlang. It is a deliberate policy. Erlang has a sophisticated mechanism to handle errors, which are shown later. As an exercise, try to make IO format 2 crash. It should not be difficult, but notice that although IO format 2 crashes, the Erlang shell itself does not crash. Should we make it crash? Maybe if I pass in like hello here without anything. Yep, there we go. Bad argument. Cool. A larger example. On my temps. So print temp IO format. D dash N. So tilde minus 15 W. I'm a bit confused at this bit here. So it says tilde minus 15 W. So does it explain it anywhere? Because I'm just wondering what this, because the tilde W is the thing that's going to be replaced. But does the minus 15 go as well? What is that? I don't. I'm a bit confused by that. So let's have a look at what it says. So does it say anything about the minus 15? I'm really confused at what that is, but I don't know if I've missed something here. Tilde minus 15W. Oh, okay, yeah. Notice that tilde minus 15W says print the term with a field length width of 15 and left justify it. Okay. So if it's more than 15, I guess we can do a test here. So hello, let's do, where is tilde? W, but then in front of that, let's do minus 5. 5W. Add a load there. What? Hang on a minute. Look. But then as soon as I do... So if it's more than 5, it just gives me... It prints stars. That's not really what I was expecting it to do. I thought it would... I thought that it would just give me 5 and then just get rid of the rest of it. Like, it would always just... Even if I did like hello and then a load of stuff, it would just print hello. I guess that's not how it works. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I don't really get what that does then. Okay, yeah, I'm a bit confused by that. I don't really get what that's doing, so print the term with field length of 15 and left justify it. Oh, I think I get what that's doing now. So there's space here for 15 characters. Is that what it's saying? And then, so it creates this space here, which is space for 15 characters. But then the characters it does have, it just justifies them to the left. And then obviously it fills the rest of it with just empty space. Like that. And then I guess if you go over 15, then it causes a problem. But does it? I wonder if there's a way of like cutting it off so it doesn't cause a problem, because at the moment it's like giving me stars here. But yeah, I think I get what that's doing now. It makes sense. So yeah. All right. So that was interesting. I don't know if I might end it there. I think I've been going for like an hour and a half. Maybe do some more at some point. Quite interesting. I wonder if it's worth me going through kind of on my own and then doing a project. Because at the moment it's just reading through this documentation, which is quite interesting, but yeah, I'm a bit I'm a bit conscious of making like boring content, and I think me reading through might be, but I don't know if that would be quite interesting, because if you're wanting to learn along, maybe that would be good. But maybe I'll leave it here and then see what you guys think. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time, where I may just build something in Erlang and read the rest of the tutorial off camera. But let me know, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.